Good evening and welcome to Gyanalok Saturday lecture series, which is collaboratively conducted in collaboration with Directorate of Distance and Continuing Education, Utkal University, Odisha. Today with us, Mr. Gouri Sankar Mishra will be talking about human rights to water sanitation in Odisha. So, as you know, uh, this Gyanalok Saturday lecture series is basically focusing on the social issues that is prevalent in India. Till today, we have we are going to complete the 12th lecture of the series, which is designed for 5 months, consisting of 20 lectures. And with us today, Miss R. Chandramoulika, who is basically working as a M&E manager with JSI and based at Delhi. Now I request R. Chandramoulika to introduce our speaker and to continue the lecture. Over to you, Moulika.
Thank you, Pradeep. A very good evening to all. I welcome you all to the Gyanalok Saturday lecture series on development issues and role of development professionals, jointly organized by Gyanalok Trust and Department of Social Work, Directorate of Distance and Continuing Education, Utkal University, Odisha. Today we have with us, as we all know, an eminent speaker, Mr. Gouri Sankar Mishra. Mr. Gouri Sankar Mishra is currently serving as President of Odisha Professional Social Workers Association. Additionally, he is also working as an advisor to Freshwater Action Network South Asia. Mr. Mishra has graduated with multiple bachelor degrees and master degrees, which includes a Bachelor of Law, Bachelor of Science, Master of Science in Anthropology, and MA in Social Work. He is the gold medalist of first ever social work postgraduate batch of Odisha and received this honor from National Institute of Social Work and Social Sciences, Utkal University, Odisha. He has about 40 years of professional experience in the field of social work. He served various national and international development organizations like Danita Foundation, Save the Children, DFID, Lepra India, Spanish Red Cross, Jivika Trust, JICA in senior positions. Being a professional social worker, he always loved to be associated with community and grassroots people and address their issues. Mr. Mishra has expertise in wash related programs and has vast experience in the field of water, sanitation, hygiene, and other aspects of human health caused by water sanitation issues. He visited countries like United Kingdom, Nepal, Philippines, and Italy to share his knowledge and experience. Today, Mr. Mishra will deliver a lecture on human rights approach to water and sanitation in India based out of his vast knowledge on water and sanitation. It's my absolute honor, sir, on behalf of Gyanalok Trust, Department of Social Work, DDCE, Utkal University, and all the participants who have joined us in today's lecture. I welcome you to this Saturday lecture series session and request you to please address our audience. Over to you, sir.
So thank you very much. Are able to everybody are able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. So good evening to all the participants, friends and colleagues. This is really, I feel honored of being part of this lecture series and giving this lecture to so many people, so many new social workers and those who are working in the field. It is really a good opportunity where we can share our thoughts. As you know, I got this information at 1 o'clock, around 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock, where I was not actually ready, but only I was very interested to part of this whole discussion, because yesterday only the book which we all 5-6 members wrote on human right on water sanitation, which was inaugurated by our honorable governor of Odisha, and this is a new approach altogether to the whole sanitation and water sector. Not only in Odisha, it is also in India, as well as all over world. It is now become a discussion, a debatable topic, which is emerging to solve a lot of issues, challenges are there. And unless until the initiation happens, then it will be difficult to such a complicated subject like water sanitation to vast population and different categories of people. Therefore, I was very much interested to take up, even if at the last moment when Pradeep requested me to uh, to join and share the experience. But only thing is, I will request everybody, because I did not get much time to go through for preparation in a logical way or sequential way, or something which is presentable. But I have tried my best to prepare a PowerPoint presentation within 1 hour, just to give my whole thought behind all this, and the situation of, or the paradigm shift which is happening in this sector all over the world, as well as India, and certainly in Odisha is not behind that, and Odisha also is part of that. So thank you very much, everybody. Let me get into the presentations. As you know, uh, people are talking, we all are talking human rights so much that everywhere people are acquainted with the word human rights. But this becomes very broad. But anyway, human rights started, as you know, before the UN, UN initiated 1948 something, where now that time human rights started basically to protect the civil rights or the political right of the people all over the world. That was called the first generation rights of the humans, where it was not there. And if you come back, the second generation human rights is, if you see, the socio cultural and economical right of the people all over the world, where the Magna Carta, the French Revolution, and the colonial rule, where they were providing. After that, when the UN become little bit crystallized around something 950, 55, when people, they were looking for the humanity, see, the third generation human rights come into picture. That is basically what you call the environmental and developmental rights of the people. And in that developmental right, basically when people are looking livelihood part, but gradually they have seen livelihood cannot be separated from water sanitation, because livelihood is a requirement. And also, if you see, water sanitation is equally required. Without water sanitation, livelihood cannot happen, or people cannot live. Even if they have livelihood, if there is no water sanitation, then people, it is very difficult to live in the whole society and gradually carry out the occupation. See, this is what Nelson Mandela, that's what I want to quote, that if you deny people their human right, is it to challenge their very humanity, which is basically the starting point of thinking of protecting the human right of everybody, those who take birth in the earth. As you know, if you come down to the broad definition of human rights are basic rights.
Slide टा आगुको move करनी.
এটা মুভ করনি, সেকেন্ড স্লাইড দেখিনো, দেখাও নি?
না না,
সেকেন্ড স্লাইডটা
हाँ एबे देखाला.
আসলা?
हाँ देखाला. Right. Thank you.
আসলা তো ডেফিনেশন অফ হিউম্যান রাইট।
তো স্কিপ কর যাইছি, এটা থার্ড স্লাইডটা, সেকেন্ড স্লাইডটা রহি যাইছি, থার্ড স্লাইডটা।
দিস ইজ থার্ড স্লাইড।
Okay, sir.
हाँ ठीक अच्छे सेकंड टा नेल्सन मंडेला को
This is second slide.
हाँ ठीक अच्छे एबे ठीक अच्छे ठीक
So if we define human right very broadly, this is basically two important words comes, that is dignity of the people and equality or equity. That is what you call everybody should get their fair chance, and they should get respect, as well as they should have some independence of their own living. These values are defined and protected by law in the constitution or legal by different countries. When you talk about human right, see, this is people just inherent because they are human being. So based on that, like a person born in the earth has its own, has to protect his dignity. He has to get his all respect, fairness, and he is independent. And being a human being, he has to have his own human right. And the third one, the most important definition is that human rights include the right to life and liberty. This is where, although see, it has come from the westernized concept of liberty and all that, where people are more when they have experienced slavery. But although it is not there in that form in India, but India has also seen that the caste system, the tribal, the other Dalits, see, they are also they were not having their required liberty, and they were as good as they were working as slavery. So these are all Indian context of human rights, where the basically whole thought process has emerged all over the world to see that every human being, those who are born in the earth, has to protect their human rights. See, the question when it comes, when people they are talking about their protecting the right in the livelihood, as I said earlier, see, the whole water and sanitation is human right along with livelihood. Is also water and sanitation is also equally right, equally required. Human right is in itself essential for life and dignity, but it is also the foundation for achieving a wealth of other human rights. If you don't have proper water and sanitation, people are not getting that. See, that will also lead to not achieving other rights of health and other developmental aspects. See, because of lack of water and sanitation, every country, poor country, they are losing their GDPs. They are economically, people are become poorer. The whole other developmental prospects are also reducing gradually. And they, once they were not having proper safe water and sanitation, country also has the impact on country on other development is also very visible. You must be aware that Indian Constitution, Article 21, although it is not described very what you call very openly that water and sanitation should be protected, but Article 21 says that there are two things. One is right to life, and other is right to personal liberty. See, right to life, although it is not defined very straightforward in the constitution that water and sanitation, but people, based on their PIL, the public litigation cases, when people have put in the High Court and Supreme Courts, see, they have interpreted the Article 21 is that which right to life includes right to shelter, which means availability of minimum living place, clean and decent surroundings, sufficient light, pure air and water, electricity, sanitation, and other civic amenities, so as to have easy access to his daily occupation. See, only all these happen because if you very directly interpret Article 21, then right to life means you only breathe that, but actually that is not right to life, right to life. So right to life means you should have all these amenities, then only you can live properly and you can carry out your occupations. Hence, it is very clearly defined that water sanitation is an important human right because these are basic need for human being for right to live under Article 21. Similarly, Article 47 also indirectly states that all state to raise the level of nutrition and the standard of living and to improve public health. See, this is what whole narrative which is there in the constitution, but uh, as per the constitutional norm, this is what is been directed by the court to implement and to see that water sanitation is also provided to the people to continue their life as a right, and hence they carry out their occupation properly so that the livelihood is ensured. So that means these two articles needs more it needs more expansion, and also gradually the force is coming because if you see the MDG which has half fulfilled, then the SDG which is we will be facing at 230, that universal access to sanitation and water. Maybe during that time uh, uh, more activities can happen, more advocacy can happen, so that the constitution can amend for directly explaining water and sanitation as a fundamental right for the people. See, this is just, I wanted to repeat, but you all must be aware that because of lack of sanitation, lot of problems are happening. And now at this stage, at the world level, 2.5 billion people, they lack access to sanitation. The 748 million people all over the world, see, they are not access to safe drinking water. Safe means which is free from biological contamination and chemical contaminations. 1 billion people still practice open defecation. And in this open defecation, you will see 9 out of 10 people live in rural areas, and gradually the number is also increasing in urban areas, slum areas, which is also increasing. Practically, if you see the UN conventions, when opportunities come in the SDG meeting, SACOSAN meeting, and there are other international meetings, see the whole information base or the data which is coming from different countries, including India, see the sanitation is not reported properly. And basically, the data is not available because proper monitoring is not happening, proper planning is not happening, proper achievements, the achievements at activity level, if it is happening, then outcome level monitoring is not happening, because that requires interdepartmental discussions, interdepartmental negotiations, interdepartmental meetings and all that. So that whole capacity, either it is lacking or the conscious interest is lacking to monitor that. And now I don't have the proper data, the recent data, but what I have seen in 2019-20 before COVID, see lot of primary schools and healthcare centers at sub-center level, at Anganwadi center level, at uh, PSC level, see the sanitation part is missing. Even if water is there, although it is not, the quality is not tested, but sanitation is a very neglected subject in all these areas. See, if you see, I told you in the beginning, the whole international concern, including India, regarding the human right aspects of the water and sanitation. Because if you see the 2000, see, UN constituted to 1948, but UN General Assembly and Human Rights Council accepted water and sanitation is a right of the people at around 2010, when the reporters, different countries, they raised the voice, and because the water is depleting and become polluted through sanitation, see, whole that issue has been recognized around 2010, something 50 years after UN, which is the body which is looking after the dignity and liberty of the people, they have recognized after 50 years. See, after 3 years, that means 2013, Human Rights Council agreed and developed a content regarding water sanitation that is in the form of a guideline, not in even a regulatory format. India agreed in principle, yet to amend explicitly in the constitution, like what I said, the Article 21 and Article 47, which is little bit ambiguous and it requires interpretation by different people, and the interpretation may vary by different people based on their own understandings and all that. But although now, after this General Assembly Convention, 52 countries, European countries and other countries, they have adopted this in their own constitutions and other legislations, that water and sanitation is right of the people, of the all the people of their country. But still, India, although developed lot of schemes, like if you see the Har Ghar Jal, Jal Jeevan Shakti, Jal Jeevan Mission, the Amrit program, and other Swachh Bharat programs. See, lot of programs they have developed, but practically they have not modified or amended in the constitution. Even if the sustainable development goal says that everybody by 2030 has to be access, affordable, and they should governments, the duty providers should take responsibility to provide that. But still, kind of India is not amended. See, the real challenge is, if you see a word which has been used all over India and world, that is LNOB. That means leave no one behind in case of water sanitation. So that means everybody, every individual in the sense, those who are capable, those who are incapable, those who are vulnerable, marginal, all these people has to be access to quality water and sanitation. See, this is now the real challenge for all countries, and especially the bigger populous countries like India, which is a very complex phenomena. And the town planning, the cities, the expansion of all the households, expansion of the whole infrastructure level. See, this to provide water and sanitation, but this is a real challenge, but must have to be achieved in the case of water sanitation to everybody. This achieve in the sense, you should have at least planning of your own. At least you should have a target within the year. You have to achieve that. See, that is what, unless and until you have that, it is very difficult to prove at SDG reporting level that what you are doing. And schematically, we have developed, like we have provided allotted money, all that, but that will not count unless and until you have a plan that how you are covering each and every one. So that is the real challenge. See, now if you see why recently we are talking about human right on WAS. If you see, till now, in India got independence in 1945, 47, and till now, see, this is a government program, water and sanitation, and government is implementing the whole program. But practically, if you see water and sanitation, this is the person who is getting the service, he has to manage it, because the responsibility of duty bearers is equal with the also the user also, like the public also has to share their responsibility, part of the responsibility. So now we have to see that, see, this is not only a government business or government only provide the services, but public has to take real interest, and public has to made say to see that they are also partner to the whole program. So that is a new emerging paradigm shift in the service delivery situations. So that is what people are started talking about now, right, on water sanitation and hygiene. See, the whole issue, if you see the evidence-based planning at local level. Now, if you see other countries like where I have seen at Philippines, at Italy, the planning process actually starts if you have data. But if you don't have data, then how you develop a DPR project? See, like at one point of time in 1900, around when 2000, before 2014, government of India started monitoring like how many tribal people got water, access to water, how many Dalit people, how many women, how many school. See, they have started monitoring that data. But that data, again, never flowed from the backward, like that means from village level to district level to city level. Rather, that was formed at the state level, simply because, and who is tribal, where they got the discrete data, see, that was not sure. So that is the major controversy which people have said. And because unless and until you identify who are the people left behind, or who are the people unreached, you should have data on that. Then only you can have a planning process in the whole yearly what you call implementation of the whole program. So if you don't have a real evidence-based data, then you only plan on a pseudo implementation process, pseudo planning process, which is a false planning process. So that is what now people have started talking about, like you generate data at the village level, because if you see, Odisha has border to 5 states. The border villages, you must be aware about the Kutia thing now. And similarly, there are a lot of border villages which is totally neglected. There are tribal areas still which is totally neglected. They were still depending upon the stream water, and they due to sanitation, see the nutrition level, the what you call the intelligence level, the whole growth level, everything, they are still suffering hereditarily at the tribal areas. So that required the people have started talking evidence-based planning. Facilitate for empowering community people to implement appropriate demand-driven approach. See, demand-driven approach actually started in 2000 when they started sector reform program in 2000, where they have started taking 3 districts in Odisha and sector because earlier under CRP, the Central Sanitation Program, where they were just, nobody knew that one. Only they were giving some money, because from the very beginning, if you see the sanitation program, water program, they have a concept that means rural people are poor, and unless and until you give them money, unless and until you give them money, see, they cannot do toilet, and they cannot achieve water and sanitation program. So that means the this is just a service delivery program on a that means government led program. This is never created a demand. But at least in 2000, government started initiated a program, a sector reform program in water sanitation, and they introduced that word demand driven approach. But practically demand driven approach, which has not been clearly what you call analyzed that time, because demand-driven approach means where the service provider, the engineer, they sat in the office. They told unless and until people demand, we will not do anything. That means again they sat without doing anything, and people never aware that the demand-driven program is there or they should demand and all that. So that means that is a period where nothing has happened, even if sector reform program run. And now you can see at district level, forget about the state level thing. Sorry, the district level, if you go and block level, district level, block level, or panchayat level, you will see there is a huge gap between those who provide service and the people, those who are the beneficiaries, because they are not aware what is happening, what should happen, who should maintain, where to manage, where to what. See, now you will see because they have money, they are building high-rise water tanks. But before building water tanks, you should have water source, because unless and until water source is there, what is the use of spending money on building water tanks? So that whole kind of thing is missing, and that is not. And you will see now there are hundreds of water tanks are built, but which has not been used now because water source is not there in that. There are mega schemes of pipe water schemes where 5-6 villages has to come, 5-6 village people, they are not aware what to happen, what is going on. So finally they build it, and 5 villages they quarrel among themselves and break it. See, all these are happening because the participation of people is not there. So this is now the situation which people have started talking that that gap has to be reduced between the officials and common people. Then, as usual, because the participation is not there, there is no question of accountability, because nobody is taking accountability of loss, because so many things has been wasted. Because if you see in 70 around 75, see 40 crore rupees started with water sanitation program, but now sanitation program itself in the year 2019 when ODF happened, ODF achieved, countrywide ODF achieved. See, that time, by that time, almost 3,000 crore has been spent on WAS, on the sanitation toilet construction. But nobody is accountable what has happened to that toilets. Now you will see, I have visited Koraput. See, Koraput, Daswantpur Panchayat, almost around 99 villages are there where you will not find a single toilet. All toilets are damaged where it is not constructed, and totally. So that means these people are all going to open defecation. So who is now responsible? See, that nobody bothers, nobody is talking. So people have started talking, at least, that whatever money has been spent, who will be accountable if we are not achieving the result? And that part has become a discussion topic at different levels, different monitoring meeting level, different country level, and different forum level of developmental forum level. So this is also part, because of that, now people have started talking human right. See, now water sanitation alone, the service providers cannot achieve unless until people take their own responsibility. Because I have right, I cannot pollute the pond water, because regulatory framework has to be developed. Because although I have my right to go there and I can do anything mine, but that doesn't mean that I don't have my own responsibility. So once somebody doesn't understand responsibility, then that regulatory framework has to be developed, and you have to see that both the duty bearers and service providers should take responsibility. See, the whole, if you see now from 1975, where CRPC and the Rajiv Gandhi water sanitation, water provision program started. See, the whole thing has not depended upon a real implementable and workable policy. Although now, if you see, government has developed urban sanitation policy, and rural sanitation policy in 2017 and 19, but that is not very clear about who will do it, who is responsible. See, really, it is so broad that nobody takes responsibility, nobody is accountable. See, that policy has to be very clearly expressed, that who is really responsible, because there are local bodies, there are state departments, there are district authorities, developmental authorities, there are line departments. So actually, who will responsible, who is really, so that policy, that clear cut policy has to be developed, so that at least the planning process has to planning process needs to be improved, because you have to have data, you have to have real identification of the real problem, and real identification of how many target villages you are crossing this year, how many people, what kind of things you are now implementing, like the when the water sanitation sector, see the whole bias is that there is replication of technology, replications of the best practices. But in water sanitation, the moment you talk about replication, that means that is the first stage of failure, because replication, sanitation and water is such a issue, it actually differs from place to place. So you have to plan based on the local context, local resources, local people, local requirements, because they will first, they have to be they have to manage the whole issues. So that whole policy need to be developed very clearly. And the whole issue now, if you see the water sanitation, when we talk about, there are really in water sanitation there are 6 principles of equity, safety, and sustainability, as well as if you see from provider side, the accountability and responsibility. See, when they take responsibility, but they don't take accountability, because responsibility means is not accountability. Accountability has to be very clearly manifested and observed by the service beneficiaries, and they should clearly feel that really the person who is responsible, they have taken the accountability. And the whole question of, because India and Odisha, see, a lot of poor people are there. Now you see water become a good, because if you see now water has been sold, started selling water, people are started selling water which government is not regulating. And now if you see the PWD has turned into WATCO, Water Corporation in Odisha. Now previously what was Public Health Department, now it is WATCO. WATCO is becoming company. Company ideology, if you see, they have started outsourcing to private parties to distribution, like the electricity. So the poor people will now, it is what you call, it is expected that poor people may devoid of this water required as per their need, because whenever they need, maybe water is not available as per their quality, the water is not available at their doorsteps, the safety issue will not be there. So these are all now issues which it has been started discussing and debating, that the real water has to be affordable on equity basis. That means everyone has to be accessible, and government has to make the whole planning and resource mobilization, and manage the resources accordingly, because this is the primary issue. Unless and until you have solved the water and sanitation problem, see, other developmental issues will not be emerged, or it will not be helpful to implement something. See, now, as I said, the present situation, the third generation, right, when we're talking about water sanitation, as I have already said, that that paradigm has shifted. This is mere service delivery to right-based approach. That means everybody has to understand that when they are providing the service of water sanitation, that they are not doing a favor, rather they are providing because people's right is there. People has right to receive all this. And now the government already started the outcome-based monitoring, so that it has to come out of activity-based and expenditure-based monitoring. That means once your expenditure is happened, then you are a good boy in the whole service sector. But now, even if you have expenditure, you have done all the required expenditure, even if you have achieved the activity target, but if your result is not achieved, then uh, you will be accountable still to the public and whole government regarding the money, because now everybody will be looking for really uh, uh, what you call real right based approach, so that real people are getting benefit or not, because still a lot of areas are there where gray areas are there, where people still some people in the village, they are taking good water and other people are taking pond water. Even if that means, again, this is where it is not solved by the people, then the government has to take responsibility to see that everybody has access to safe water based on their right. It is not a favor. And now, as I said earlier, there should be a conscious planning of LONB group, where the people, the unreached people are there. It has to be identified, mapped, and see that it has to be displayed everywhere. Everybody should know that these are the people who have not received water sanitation till now. So how that should be planned, and how that should be consciously get into the whole activity and planning level in the beginning, so that these people, those who are unreached people, they should get the benefit. See, the governance has to start on really HR approach. That means all the people at district level, the politicians, the bureaucrats, the technocrats, the whole implementer people, has to understand the governance approach. The governance should be based on human right, and specifically the Panchayat Raj institution people, those who are really village people, they have come from the village, they are very close to village, they know the problem. So they should be trained and understood that the how, because now if you see the 15th Finance Commission, they have given a lot of money to, and they have specifically allotted to Panchayat, and specifically further allocated to water sanitation. That means total 60% of the money will be spent at Panchayat level on water sanitation issue, which is again the PRI people, the sarpanch, the panchayats and the chairmen, they have to understand the whole importance, because government has declared ODF. That means 100% toilet is constructed. Again, there will be no chance of new construction toilet, but to add value to that, the 15th Finance Commission money has been given to the panchayat, so that they can utilize that money to develop water sanitation as they like. That means they plan, they implement. That will not come to the district level planning process, because once panchayat decides, they have to implement whole work in that, and that has to be initiated, and that governance has to start on human right base. That means all people should get benefit out of that. That is the, but the real problem is, once the panchayat people have elected themselves, see, they get away from the masses. That means they are not with the masses, and a lot of political conflicts which is happening, and the groups are there at micro level, at village level. See, that means again, that is not being properly monitored, that is not being regulated, that is not being seen that they are doing properly, because nobody is above that monitoring. The whole issue is, now government is operating in such a stage that they implement, they made expenditure, and that they become the auditor finally, because nobody is there to challenge them, nobody is there to see that. See, these are the issues has to monitor properly, so that every unreached people get benefit of water sanitation, and that governance should happen. And really now, which is again at a particular point, civil societies, which they are going away from government business, because they are thinking working with government is become liability, because they see that if you work with government, then a lot of problems happen, a lot of questions happen. But now real civil societies has to come forward, and community groups has to come forward to see that, see, they also involve in their local level, because that is what the important is, because they are the intellectual people, they know what are the things, they can negotiate, they can go and talk to the real service providers, and they see what is good, and they can make the forward and backward linkage with village people, real unreached people, as well as the group. So that is what is now required. See, now if you see in Odisha, the clear issue is, as I said, see, government has declared ODF. That means everybody in Odisha has a toilet and they are using toilet. Nobody is going outside. This is what official version. And but practically, if you see, now Odisha is sitting on a time bomb. That means maybe based on the UNICEF report, which is coming now, maybe a bomb in the sense a diarrheal, again epidemic might emerge, because the whole water, groundwater is being polluted by biological pathogens through this open defecation, because people are still because I said, as I said, in Koraput, other parts of the district where I have not visited, but Koraput I have visited extensively, where I have seen, see, people are going for open defecation. See, this whole is really challenge to environmental sustainability and what you call hazards for public health. Because see, now villages, people are happy if they have toilet, because they are telling, see, we have toilet, disease will not come to us. But practically, if you see, even if one person goes outside, the whole village will suffer. That is what the villagers has to understand. See, that required now behavior change. That is not what you call the infrastructure development is not important. Important is the 100 years old behavior, or more than that, the more 100 or 2000 to 1000 years old behavior change. The mindset has to change. People has to understand that, because the fly doesn't understand that he has toilet and other one doesn't have toilet, so he will only go where toilet is not there. It is not like that. So that means one person, if he's going out, the problem is still there. That means the whole environmental pollution is there. See, this is the real issue now in Odisha, because once they have declared ODF, see, now they are going for ODF plus. That means solid liquid waste management and the menstrual management in the school, as well as the fecal sludge management in the village level. See, this is where now you require the real participation of the people. Unless until people really participate, this will never achieve. So the whole participatory implementation, planning, monitoring is not happening in Odisha. That is the core issue which required, as I said, really human right-based approach has to happen, so that the service providers has to involve, and the service the beneficiaries has also needs to involve in the whole process. See, that has to happen. And other thing, if you see government of Odisha, as usual in India, see, they are all concentrating on infrastructure development, the capital expenditure. See, capital expenditure, if you make without thinking about O&M and the behavior change process, you will not spend money on behavior change. You will not spend money on O&M. Then the whole capital expenditure will spoil very soon. And the really regulatory framework has never been implemented, because the pollution control board is there, the municipality is there, NS is there. See, they are not implementing the regulatory framework properly, those who are responsible for that. And that is what just for showcasing one or two issues happening, then whole Odisha is sleeping on that. See, that is what now the core issues which started discussion at the intellectual level and the developmental work level. See, these are the LONOB group people in Odisha, which we are thinking, but there are a lot of people, more people will be identified gradually, if you see in the border areas, poor people, socially, geographically isolated people, those who are in the border areas, those who are in the, stay in the mountain areas, the women, you must have seen, see, the woman is, you must have seen when even the richer women, those who are, when they are traveling by bus or somewhere in the other vehicles, see, when they travel for a lot, even they don't drink water and they don't look for sanitation because the infrastructure is not there. So that means again, these are the people who when they lose their right and dignity because the infrastructure is not there. Sometimes the infrastructure is not maintained properly, and the whole vulnerability group, this leave no one behind group, is really challenge that these people needs to be addressed when you required to implement the governance of human right approach. As I said, these are all, if you see international law related to water sanitation right, Article 55 of UN, they are clearly mentioned that highest standard of living. As I said, 1948 United General Assembly accepted that water sanitation right is also part of dignity development. Geneva Convention also developed a charter where different articles also mentioned where India has ratified and India is part of that. Geneva Convention, along with that, the whole Human Rights Conventions, 1966, the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, International Covenant on Economic and Social Cultural Rights. See, these organizations at the UN level have recognized right to water. But again, what I said, when we are talking about right to water and sanitation, it is a right. Right means, again, water sanitation they see jointly, but still in these forums, sanitation is not specifically separated, because sanitation is a bigger issue than water. But when you mix water and sanitation, then politically what or bureaucratically they see more concentrate on water, but they forget about sanitation. But sanitation really spoils water. But that is what these people still need to see, that sanitation is also part of this convention as a separate right. That means water and sanitation rights, not right. And then Vienna Declaration also, they have added water sanitation and they started monitoring at UN level. Convention on the elimination of violation against women also see that the CEDAW rule and child right treaties at the UN level, all they have started accepting water sanitation. But as I said, sanitation needs to be identified more separately and more vigorously than water, because sanitation is the real culprit for polluting water. This is just, I have mentioned about Odisha because I have already discussed that Odisha is the 11th largest state. 17 people are only living in urban areas, and the rest are the people in rural areas. And third largest population in the country. 40% of the population of Odisha are scheduled tribes and scheduled caste. 13 particular vulnerable tribal groups, those who are isolated and marginalized. And as I said, Odisha's shared with 5 states and 475 kilometers of coastal area. See, these I have mentioned because these are the vulnerable places which require more concentration when you plan for providing water and sanitation services. And when you plan, because these are the people who live on lot of blind beliefs and they have their own cultural ethos and cultural convictions and all that, and lot of andhavishwas. So that is where you have to plan Based on that, and you have to have the knowledge and you have to have the information data before planning for all these services. And these are all 5-6 issues what I have mentioned, but there are still a lot of other issues which required more information gathering, planning, as well as implementation accordingly, understanding their whole cultural and religious convictions. See, as I said, now because of this water sanitation issue and public health problem, earlier, but I don't know whether it has come out of that. Odisha was part of the Bimaru state, but now with the, if you see the recent data says, Government of India has taken Odisha as empowered action group states where it has lagged behind the demographic transition and have the highest infant mortality rate. That means the whole demographic fertility rate is a little bit increased compared to other states, and infant mortality rate. So Government of India has put Odisha as empowered action group so that they have specific activities which has been allocated to Odisha to see that, because this has also bearing on improving water sanitation issues. Because unless water sanitation, if you improve that, then probably the infant mortality rate due to diarrhea or the infant mortality rate in other nutrition problem, malnutrition problem, that has also impacted and might have a positive impact on that once it is improved. See, these are all consequences. If you see still now, because water sanitation safety, the services are not provided, the disease, the cholera and diarrheal disease is increasing. Because of that, see, once people suffer in cholera and diarrheal disease, the mandate of work is lost, because a lot of people will see, if you see the census, then many, almost 55% people are laborers, marginal workers or agricultural laborers. So that once that is lost, see, that loss is not only to individuals or district, that is also to state and nation. The whole, if you see the once mandate is lost, then economically lost also. Then the vicious cycle of poverty continues because of this whole issue: repeated diarrhea, repeated typhoid, hepatitis, and other waterborne and water versus diseases. Child mortality is increasing. As you said, dignity of women is decreases, because if you see sanitation, really in other part, the women, they have their own problems of sanitation problems, where because their toilets are not there, the covered places are not there, then they really there is no other option for them, losing the whole dignity process. That is what the whole people realizes. But still, it has been never been voiced, neither by rural women, nor by rural men, nor by the rural administrators, nor by the any state planner processes, who really immediately this part has to be addressed. That means the dignity of the woman, once it is not improved, then we have been talking about gender issues for last 30-40 years, that improving gender. And as all these are happening, equity and justice is severely neglected to all these people in this area, because after 75 years also, we cannot say that we have given water and sanitation services to everybody. In Delhi newspaper and TV, you must be seeing people are still sitting on the road for water with their pots. They are walking still 2 kilometers to fetch water together, and while going also, the children, they carry that one. And still now, see, although the gender discrimination, if you see, has solved, because earlier women were going, but now along with women, men also started going, because water is scarce, water is not there. See, that issue, even if it is if you see the gender discrimination, the role assignment has been addressed because of the requirement, but still we are not demanding that water and sanitation services is responsibility of the state, and state has to provide us that part. See, the PRI bodies as the real mouthpiece of the villagers has to come forward, and they have to plan and implement that. See, these are the state bodies which have also mandate to address all this. But to our surprise, we have seen that only Human Rights Commission, two people they have filed case, and in Women Commission, only one lady filed complaint that in a school toilet is not there and she is facing problem. In Odisha, we found till 2000 when we have collected information around 2019. See, there are 3 cases only filed. Even if there are so many institutions are there where you can raise your complaint and you can raise your issue. See, once people are also not taking responsibility, because unless and until you open up, you discuss, you develop, then the whole issue will not be solved. And these are the bodies which also have mandate and who can also help if people go there and ask for help on this. And specifically SC Commission and the what you call the State Commissioner of Persons with Disability, they have also specific mandate that, to see that all their beneficiaries should get all kind of services to see to improve their dignities. But nothing is happening on this. At the end, I'll just say that the state government, community, civil societies may think of shifting from service delivery to right-based approach to achieve equity, dignity, and SDG. So thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir. In a short period, actually, you have prepared a lot of things, and your slides are filled with a lot of informations. And the first and foremost thing I should know, let all participants know about today's crisis for the lecture. Because the person, Mr. Vibhuti Bhushan Gandnaik, who supposed to deliver in today's lecture, not make it possible because of some emergency, hospital emergency. And rightly sir told, actually at around 12 p.m. or around 1 a.m. 1 p.m. I call you and requested to somehow manage this lecture, and you did it perfectly, sir. Thank you so much on behalf of Gyanalok and DDC. We are really grateful, and big thank for your effort and presentation. And rightly you told that the importance of water nowadays, and the concept of water budgeting nowadays is also coming because of by looking into the importance and scarcity. And in our sustainable development goal number 6, basically that covers to ensure available and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. This is one of the important goal under SDG. Because any deviation in that goal can lead to can hamper the goal number 1, 2, and other
3
goals, like goal number 2 is talking about health and hygiene, all these things. So that will be critically affected if water and sanitation will not be ensured. And another important thing that I have gone through certain literature, that if the current trend of water and sanitation issue will continue, it will be the agenda 2030 that we are targeting. By 2030 we have to achieve all the sustainable development goals. That will create a problem for lack of drinking water to 1.6 billion people in the world.
Yes, that is true.
And regarding sanitation, that will create issue for 2.8 billion people. Those who cannot have a safety managed sanitation provision in their house. And it will create problem for 1.9 billion people, though, in terms of hygienic issue, which is a really bigger challenge for the entire world, not India or Odisha. And we have it is the right time to focus on the water and sanitation issue, and particularly when we are talking about gender, since women are the priority, and in Odisha, government of Odisha is highly focusing on women, and water and sanitation is basically highly affect the women. So when we are talking about the safety and health and hygiene of women, we have to focus on that. This is from my side. Once again, thank you. Now, actually, we have two eminent person today with us, Professor Ashutosh Pradhan and Dr. Jharana Swai is also available. I can see her. Ma'am, actually being a woman, can you please contribute something in respect to today's presentation?
Yes. Yeah, thank you, Pradeep. And it is a well presented topic, and each and every aspect, Gouri Bhai touch each and every aspect, and very really it is a very.
If you can switch on your video.
No.
Okay.
You carry on.
Okay. Continue.
So thing is that, as you said, the woman plays a very important role for this water sanitation especially, and whatever the modern technology and modern amenities are available for protection of women, it also create lots of hazards for environment, and also that is also for the sanitation issues, creating another sanitation issue, because if you are not able to properly dispose the sanitary napkins and all these things, we are providing in massive way, but we do not teach the students and children how to dispose all the sanitary napkins, and it also creates a lots of hazards in the proper management of sanitation, and also it creates lots of lot of problem for the environment. So these things also we should train the school children and the students also in the school how to maintain sanitation. If you properly use the sanitation, that way we can also preserve water. You not using water properly, we will also wastage the water. The sanitations and water both should be managed properly with a due respect to each other. Thank you, Pradeep.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for your sharing. And you told very rightly, actually, the sanitary pad, which is also one of the major concern, and there is also a lot of debate going on in the dustbin, whether it's where to be put the sanitary pad. So it's, and some people are saying that no, it should be put in a there should be a separate dustbin, like medical dustbin or something that. So where it should be put, neither it should be put in the waste dustbin or in the dry dustbin like that. So again, we can also think about that and have another discussion or another series of lecture regarding this.
As in the schools, when the government is providing sanitary napkins, every school there should be a sanitary napkin disposal machine. As most of the schools, in the 10-15 years back, the CYSD was providing this sanitary napkin disposals machine to some of the schools, but it is now in the damaged conditions. So these things, we should introduce all these things in different schools. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ବହିଟେ ଯେ ସେଟା ଛାଡି ଦିଅନ୍ତୁ, ସେଟା ଦରକାର ନାହିଁ।
I request Professor Ashutosh Pradhan,
ସେଟା ଦରକାର ନାହିଁ, ଖାଲି ଏଇ ଗୋଟେ ଲେଖି ଦିଅନ୍ତୁ, ଖାଲି
contribute your idea and knowledge.
I do not have much to say, because as such I do not have any professional expertise in this field, that is wash. But of course, all of us do a lot of reading, and when we speak in terms of human rights of the common man, so the commons especially, in which we can cover various water bodies like rivers, ponds. I think it's beyond sanitation, beyond the discourse of sanitation, that a lot of water bodies are being impacted because of mismanagement, and the government also, apart from the community, we have not been able to give due attention. I'm sure all of you are aware, or all of us are aware, that beautiful city like Bangalore, which had n number of lakes, all these lakes were forcefully occupied by the real estate mafia, and big buildings, sky rise, and big buildings have come up in this place. The rivers are also getting polluted fast. Cities, towns, they are channeling their wastewater into the rivers, as a result of which those people who are living on these water bodies for their livelihoods, it's a livelihood issue for their livelihoods, those who are depending, especially for example, the fish catch, it is fast depleting. And you can go on and on in discussing and debating how the human rights of local communities, people dependent on these water bodies, they are being impacted. Not much literature uh, or research is being done on this. So probably social work practitioners will have to move out from welfare provisioning to rather broader developmental issues which are negatively impacting the masses. So it's to do with livelihoods, and our thinking, and our approach to development. It may have to be broadened so that we can reach out to the masses. So I would fail in my talk if I do not appreciate the contribution of Gouri Vaina, because at the last minute we made an appeal to him and he readily agreed. So just imagine the extent of social capital all of us have, that when anybody is in difficulty, there is somebody or the other in our group to come forward and help. And that's the spirit that we, through Odisha Professional Social Workers Association, especially those social workers who are present here and who belong to Odisha or are working in Odisha, not necessarily Odias, but everyone who is from Odisha and working in Odisha, they can contribute to the broadening of social capital so that we can work in cooperation, and we can make a better impact in the development sector, and also influence the government to change some of its policies with regard to social work education in Odisha, so that our students, they are well prepared, they have the right skill sets, and they can contribute to the development of people in this poorer part of the country. Thank you. Thanks to all the participants who have given due attention to whatever discussions have been taking place. Thank you all.
Now, thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your contribution. Now, I request the participants who want to contribute something for the presentation, or if you have any doubt, you can raise your hand, or directly ask to our speaker.
Sir, good evening. Sir, I'm Josna Das. I'm on this class from Paradeep today. If Pradeep sir could not tell that, would not have told that you have readily prepared to come and join, we never knew. We thought you came much prepared for it. The session was really, really praiseable. Sir, what I could not understand in the consequences of consequences of water sanitation, the second number was there. Many working men, days are lost. That point I could not make out, sir, when you were explaining.
See, actually, what is happening is, if you see now in the tribal areas in Western Odisha, see, first thing, people are going or walking 3 kilometers, 4 kilometers to bring water. See, that means they cannot go to their work, because most of them are laborers. Because for one pot, to collect one pot of water, they have to walk 3 kilometers, 4 kilometers. And again, because they have to walk 3-4 kilometers in the forest, then another 4-5 people has to accompany them also. This is directly affecting. See, the other effect
Working
is
hours are lost. Yes.
working.
Working hours.
See, then other part
Yes.
is, if the child, because of the, because see, the village area, if you see, you just calculate. See, like one person, ଏବେ କେତେ କେତେ ଝାଡା ଯିବ ମତେ କୁହନ୍ତୁ, 1 person 250 ଗ୍ରାମ, ତା ମାନେ ଦିନକୁ ସେ କେତେ ଝାଡା ଯିବ, 750 ଗ୍ରାମ। ତା ମାନେ ଗୋଟେ ଗାଁରେ ଯଦି ଦେଖନ୍ତୁ 700 କି 1000 ଲୋକ ଅଛନ୍ତି, ତାହେଲେ ଗୋଟେ ଦିନରେ କେତେ ଝାଡା ବାହାରିଲା ଦେଖନ୍ତୁ। ସେଇ ଝାଡାଟା କୁଆଡେ ଯାଉଛି, ସେ ତାଙ୍କର ପାଣିରେ ମିଶୁଛି, ୱାଟର ବଡିରେ। ଆଉ ସେଇଟା ଆଉ ସେଥିରେ ଯଦି ଗୋଟେ ଚାଇଲ୍ଡ ଯଦି ଡାଇରିଆରେ he or she baby felt, then mother has to wait in the house, then she lost job, she working hour ta lost होला। ଏମାନେ ସମସ୍ତେ କାମ କଲେ ଯାଇକି ଚଳିବେ। ତେଣୁ ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ଜିନିଷ ଗୁଡାକରେ, see, they are losing lot of working hours and lot of money। ସେମାନେ they are
ଯେମିତି ହେଲେ ବି ତାଙ୍କ କାମ କରିବା ସମୟଟା କମି କମି ଯାଉଛି।
କାମ କରିବା ସମୟଟା କମି କମି ଯାଉଛି। କାହିଁକିନା ଆପଣ ଗୋଟେ ଲୋକ ଯଦି ମାସକରେ ଯଦି 15 ଦିନ ପଡିଗଲା, ତାମାନେ ବୁଝୁନାହାନ୍ତି ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ସେ କେହି ଆର୍ନ କରିପାରିବେନି। ତାପରେ ଗ୍ରାଜୁଆଲି ସେମାନେ ୱିକ୍ ହେଇଯାଉଛନ୍ତି, ରିକଭର କଲେ ବି ତାଙ୍କୁ ସେ ଅନୁସାରେ ଖାଇବାକୁ ମିଳୁନି, ସେମାନେ କାମକୁ ବି ଭଲ ଭାବରେ ଯାଇକି କାମ କରିପାରୁନାହାନ୍ତି, ହାଫ୍ ଏମ୍ପ୍ଲଏଡ ହଉଛନ୍ତି ସେମାନେ ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ। ମାନେ ଏଇ ଜିନିଷଟା ଯୋଗୁଁ। ଥ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ୟୁ ଭେରି ମଚ୍ ମ୍ୟାଡାମ।
ଥ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ୟୁ ସାର୍।
Yes, sir.
Actually, the government also is coming up with a lot of schemes. Like there is a scheme called हर घर में नल,
हर घर जल, हर घर जल थ्रू नल,
जल जीवन मिशन।
जल जीवन मिशन रे
मैंने थोड़ा ट्विस्ट कर दिया है। हर घर नल योजना, तो हर घर नल योजना लेकिन विदाउट जल। तो
नहीं, सीटा तो सीटा सुनो, सीटा, that is what I told you, है ना। See, you have to ensure water source first before this infrastructure build, है ना। water source टा देखो, एबे कहना 10 पल्ला रे तमे देखिथिबो, आमे बर्तन हमर चढ़ापल्ली से पाखापाखी 5टा टांकी बिल्ड ହେଇଛି with almost 25 lakh rupees ki more than that, but whole that water tank is wasted because there is no water source। ତେଣୁ ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ସି ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମ କଣ ହଉଛି ଦେଖନ୍ତୁ, ଅର୍ବାନ ଏରିଆରେ everybody are getting water and lot of water is wasted। ଆପଣ ଯଦି ଦେଖିବେ water budgeting ରେ, see, like if people are using 5 liter, then 15 liters are wasted in urban areas, whereas rural area ରେ ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ people are not getting 2 liter per person। They are not getting. Can I see? You amaro SDG goal re. Basically, when we talk about accessibility, affordability, মানে accessibility अर्थ हला जे whenever I require, I should get water. आगुरु थिला 175 liter per person per day, but now whenever I require, I should get access to water. सेतपई कना घर आगरे कना government is planning 3 taps. One to kitchen, one to bathroom, and one to toilet. 3 taps government is planning for rural areas. But whole issue is now, do we have a water source? First thing. Second thing is, who will maintain cost? How it is, where it should come now. When I was working in JICA at Cuttack, see, JICA main problem is fecal sludge management, that all household will be connected to sewer systems and it will come to treatment plant. At Cuttack town, people are who are living 1000 years old, tanker houses septic tank is backside the house. How they will break the house and bring the septic tank to front side? Never it is possible. So before that, you have JICA dekhantu kete last 15 years people are talking about JICA jantrana. They are talking JICA jantrana, JICA from a boon, now JICA jantrana. For 15 years it is not completed. And finally, after that is a loan amount from Japan. You have to return after 10 years. That see, from 7,000 crore, now they have spent almost 30,000 crore. But the project is not going to provide result because people are not interested to join to sewer systems. ତେଣୁ ସେ ଜାଗାରେ ଆପଣ ଯଦି ପ୍ଲାନ୍ କରିଥାନ୍ତେ non sewer system, cesspool should you tell people to do a proper septic tank. କାହିଁକିନା ସେଠି କ'ଣ tank କରିଦଉଛନ୍ତି, they are telling septic tank, but that is not septic tank. ତେଣୁ ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ government should spend money to connect that one from the each household. Otherwise, that whole infrastructure, 30,000 crore infrastructure will be wasted at Cuttack. So these are all planning mistake, and we are not talking. Beginning they have not involved the Sai Basti Lokungu, people Sai committee, they have not involved them. Only engineers and politicians they have done themselves.
And it is a top-down approach. That is why all these programs are failing to a large extent.
Sir, actually, another question asked by Ms. Pratima Patnaik. She wants to ask, do you think the proponent of SDG 6 are being enough to ensure clean water and sanitation for all by 2030?
See, if you ask me, my personal opinion is, it is almost now 8 years. 8 years, see, from MDG, what we have started, when MDG closed, see, we actually achieved 25%. That means another 75% has to be achieved. See, by 8, but now 8 years is already covered. If you see SDG, 8 years, they should have minimum another 35 to 40% they should have achieved. But whole issue is, say jo mankada 5 foot jaikiri fe 2 foot khosi jauchi, because see, the whole issue is that means you build infrastructure, that is you don't maintain it properly. That means you build and rebuild, same jinsa, but you never build and escalate it. You never build and scale it. The whole issue is now SDG ro Odisha re information kai mate kuhandu, who is monitoring SDG in Odisha? Because earlier some watch was there, is budget watch jo mane karuthile CYSD, see, they were monitoring SDG, but now who is monitoring the third party, who is monitoring SDG, and SDG data is not available. SDG data mane bartaman coverage data, see, whatever data was there till 2014, now after this present government, see, they have taken out all the previous data. That means the baseline is lost. And now if you have fresh data, then fresh data how you will compare how much you have achieved. And sadabale kon hue ithre, if you have done kind of Bartman Semana only they are telling covered water, that means pipe water supply, no tube wells. Whatever tube wells are there, Bartman now repair haboni ki maintain haboni. Tenu SDG mate to doubtful in the sense water point of view, maybe like the way they have declared ODF, they might declare that they have achieved water to all households, but sanitation will be really a problem. Sanitation is really a problem. Mane that has impact. Mane mu कहूँ when I was working in defeat, see, we are that time responsible to RD department because we are giving helping RD department. That time toilet sanitation was on our RD departments. See, RD department has to join with health department and WCD department. But then these three departments within 8 years, they never come together to sit a meeting together. We have tried our best to see that these three departments form a coordination committee and sit together to see that results are achieved. But it has never happened. So that means I don't know. Can I move to the SDG data monitoring? I have not seen. And I am trying from net website, but I am not able to get the SDG monitoring data.
Thank you so much, sir. Actually, really what you told, actually we are talking a lot of things about convergence and integration, but when it is in the grassroots, actually it fails to do that. In every sector, true. Not convergence and integration, and which is one of the major challenges for our development.
Yeah, that is true.
I hope Pratima, you
anything else? Any question?
Okay, thank you, Pratima. And
प्रदीप तुम वीडियोटा ऑफ कर दियो ताले सुबह जीवो साउंड आसुन
very
प्रदीप तुम वीडियो ऑफ कर दियो कैमरा ऑफ कर दियो हाँ एबे को
we also explored to other speakers, and they were also not available, and I know actually in a very short period it is very difficult to actually speak whatever may be the platform. So and you requested you accepted our request and deliver such a beautiful presentation, and which is really the need of the hour. Actually, understanding about water and sanitation is really the need of the hour, and all must know about this issue. And being a social worker, it is our prime duty to sensitize and aware, because women are major victim of this issues. So it is our prime duty to sensitize them to understand the importance of water and maintain proper hygiene, so that we can achieve the agenda 2030 by of SDG. Thank you so much once again, and again I'm also letting you all know that Mr. Vibhuti Bhushan Gadnaik, who could not deliver today, probably he will be available in the next Saturday, since he was occupied with certain medical emergencies. If he will be free from that, he will be delivering in the next session at 6:30 p.m. next Saturday. Thank you so much. Good night.
Good night. Thank you very much.
Shubhratri.
Thank you very much.
Namaskar, sir.
नमस्कार
Thank you so much.